out of arguably tens of hundreds,
thousands
of podcasts.
This is the one
you
that
chose this one.
This is where you are right now.
And lucky you, because you got a long drive ahead of you. The kids are being a-holes.
They're a bunch of dicks. Are we allowed to say dicks at all on this?
I'm saying it. I'm doing whatever I want.
And on that note, welcome to the Talk House podcast. Glad you chose us.
That was Lake Bell and Rob Corddry doing whatever the fuck they wanted, and it was kind of great. And we should do the same.
I think we will. Now, Nick.
Who are you?
Oh, I forgot to tell you. I'm Ellie Einhorn, host and producer of the Talk House podcast. Who the fuck are you?
I'm Nick Dawson. That's who the fuck I am. I'm editor-in-chief of Talk House Film. And I don't know, this was like a thrill for me to get these guys together, but obviously not the first time that they'd met.
They have worked together over many years on both movies and television shows.
Yep. They first worked together in What Happens in Vegas in 2006, and they have worked together extensively since then, and seem like they're kind of besties as well.
They are. When Rob Corddry first put Children's Hospital together, Lake was one of the first calls he made for a cast member.
Indeed, and when Lake Bell made her debut as writer and director in a World, which she also starred in, Rob was a key cast member for that as well. And of course, now she's making her second movie as writer, director, and star. I Do Until I Don't. He was the perfect person for her to sit down with.
I Do Until I Don't, dropping September 1st in theaters. Now, this cast is incredible. It's got some of my favorites. There's Ed Helms. There's Wyatt Cenac, my neighbor here in Fort Greene, Brooklyn, who I just saw filming on the street the other day.
Yeah, one of my favorites, Mary Steenburgen, Amber Heard, Chase Crawford, for all the Gossip Girl fans out there. This is a big deal. He's back.
And Nick, much like the movie, this conversation gets quite personal.
It does. I mean, it's interesting. Lake started writing this movie right after In a World, which is, like 4 or 5 years ago now. And she was not married at the time. This is a film about marriage. Kind of started out coming from a skeptical place, but in the process of writing it, she met her husband, with whom she now has 2 kids. So that whole shift really informed the movie. And they talk about love, about marriage, about kids, about balancing life and work.
One of my favorite quotes to that end is, having it all is bullshit.
It is. I think it's good that 2 super successful people who have happy family lives are making that distinction, because it's like you have to kind of compartmentalize and choose. And there is the public image, but then there's like the reality. And Rob talks about like not wanting to take jobs because they're too far away. I have this sense of Rob Corddry, and I got a completely different Rob Corddry in this, which I really like.
He's very open. He's very thoughtful. He's obviously quick on his feet. This is a hilarious conversation, but I'd never heard him open up like this.
Yeah, this is Rob Corddry, the best friend. This is Rob Corddry, the father, the husband. And it's funny, I feel like you see people on screen and they're one thing, and then, like, I did not know that Lake was so funny on her feet. Like, she's funny, scripted, but she's really, really funny just anyway here. And I didn't know that Rob was this kind of, like, sweet, cuddly, lovable man, because on screen he's kind of defined his career as being an asshole.
He's the asshole.
He's the asshole, and he says that. And it was really cool to listening to them talking about Children's Hospital, which was basically Rob putting together all of his friends, many of whom didn't know each other. They have this incredibly tightly knit group of really funny, awesome people, and I was kind of a little jealous.
Squad goals.
Squad goals.
This talk also takes in vegans not being vegan.
Yeah, Lake apparently went through a transitional phase as a vegan who ate a lot of meat.
Her spitting in Rob's mouth.
And also putting half her foot in there. That's a story that we really need some context for. We'll let them handle that in just a moment.
Aquaphor,
another very important component of the Rob Corddry arsenal.
And Nick, you wanted to give a trigger warning.
I have to be upfront. Anybody living in Shreveport, Louisiana, there is a moment in this podcast that may be very triggering and emotional for you. Have soothing items on hand. Be ready.
Fidget spinners.
Werther's Original, whatever you need to make yourself feel safe in the moment.
Well, on that note, should we roll the tape?
Let's roll the tape.
Listeners,
take it down a notch, listeners. So we're going to
let's go to one of our segments.
Yeah.
Do
we have any callers?
Let's take some calls.
This podcast sucks. All right, you're live with us. Should we call someone? We could call someone.
We could.
We just
Yeah.
call up Michaela Watkins right
Yeah,
now.
let's do that when we're
right,
when we're
fine.
hard up. I feel like we got
All right, fine.
plenty to talk about.
No, we do actually.
We can air out a lot of grievances.
Movies.
Movies.
Let's talk about movies.
Okay.
You and I made a movie together.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about when we first met.
Oh, when we first met.
Doing a movie together.
Yes.
Do you remember the moment we first met?
I don't remember the very
I do.
instant. You do?
I do.
Oh God, now I feel bad. What is it?
No. It was not a.
Were we
it
in
was
Vegas?
Completely.
No.
No. Come
Oh
on.
no, duh.
We were in New York.
We ended that. Yeah.
It was like the first day
it's
or
amateur
our
hour.
first day.
Yeah.
And we were in a van driving to Queens.
Oh gosh. Yes.
And
We were in a pass van. We were in like a, we were like an actor van, right?
we were in a 15 pass on our way to
On
Queens.
the way to like a rehearsal or something. This is
my
the movie.
God,
What
that's
happens in
right.
Vegas? Let's give some context.
Oh my God, that's so funny you say that.
Cameron Diaz and Ashton Kutcher of Ashton Kutcher's
Diaz
office.
and the Kutch, as they
The
were known
Kutch,
back then.
sure.
Their team, their sort of sketch comedy
Oh,
group.
yeah. I remember that group.
And Lake and I played the best friends.
We were the best friends, and
Yeah.
you were like, I'm playing the best friend. You? I'm like, yeah, I'm playing the
Of course
brunette.
I'm playing
I'm
the
the
best
brunette.
Yeah, right. I'm playing the bald best friend.
Yeah.
I'm playing the plot device.
Yeah, you were the one who was like, listen, guy.
Listen, main character. You got to do this crazy thing. Nothing bad can happen. Look at how crazy my life is. It's terrible.
And my character did basically the same thing, but with boobs.
Yeah. And yours was with more attitude, and I played the guy
I'm saucy.
with like the guy that I find myself playing a lot, not just the best friend, but the guy who's like thinks he's the smartest one in the room, but he's the dumbest.
Wait, I thought
love
you
that.
were the smart. So my character is the kind of character who thinks you're the smartest guy in the room,
Great.
but is actually wrong about
Which
it.
made that movie pretty good,
And that's
right? It
why
made our
they had
dynamic very
great
good.
dynamic.
But you were like, it was so funny. The only thing I remember about our conversation, because I remember us getting along from the start, and
Yeah.
you were like, you said, well, I forget how this came up. You're like, well, I'm vegan. I'm not vegan. I mean, I eat. Well, you were so embarrassed about saying you were vegan because I think you were at a point.
Vegan.
No, but I think because you were eating meat again all of a sudden or
God.
something like that, and
Even
you were like,
worse.
so you didn't know how. This was the first time you had to talk about it out loud. This was the story I made up in my head. Like, and you're like, okay, how do I frame this? What's this? What's
Sure.
the spin? What's my personal?
How do I feel about this?
Where am I?
Where am I with my veganism?
Who am I?
Right.
That's what I.
That's where I
remember.
was.
It was really cool.
Then when we were in Vegas, I proceeded to like down copious amounts of
Oh
meat.
yeah,
right?
we destroyed
Copious.
it. Yeah, most people go and to Vegas and they gamble and they get
Sure.
wasted.
Ugh, hammered.
Lake and I ate at like PF Chang's.
Every damn
Every
day. PF Chang's.
And we sat
We
in
got
one
our
of our
Chang
hotel rooms
on.
waiting to get called into work, just shooting the shit.
So much changing. I remember that. That was because it was like in our hotel.
It was in our hotel, and
Yeah.
it was like
It was like-
million degrees out, and it was at night. We were shooting nights.
It was like
in
our
Vegas.
central perk, basically. It was like where, like, if there was like a sitcom around our existence in that space, that's where a lot of the scenes would take place at the
and
PF Chang's.
Chandler was there.
Yeah,
with us.
Chandler was always there.
Not Matthew Perry though.
No, just Chandler.
Just the real Chandler.
Actually, just a guy. He's
right
like a bar
behind
back.
me,
Yeah,
isn't he?
a bar back named Chandler. So yeah, and that was what happens in Vegas. And the one thing that I really remember from that experience was it was like a 7-minute take of Cameron and Ashton getting married. And it was like a flashback,
Yeah.
right, scene.
That was the last thing we shot, right?
That was the last thing we shot. We were all really dear friends at that point. And we were not inebriated. However, I felt so overserved. I don't know whether it was just like the way that Vegas sort of just sends something into your consciousness that makes you
Yeah, it
feel
does. On purpose.
drunk.
Yeah.
And we were in there just pretending to be Hamityville herd. And it was a 7-minute take of us, of them getting married basically.
While we were
and
mauling each other
mauling
in
each
the
other.
Vegas pews.
Spit in your mouth.
There was a lot happened because
Let's talk about it.
let's immodestly.
We've never really.
Immodestly. Are you kidding me? We've
just
never
kidding.
really. We can't. We wear this like a badge.
No,
Are
I
you
know.
kidding
We're
me?
like, I spit in his
The
mouth.
first time somebody looks at me in the eyes, I'm like, "Hey, you want to hear a story?" No, but we were like, I remember it being way longer than 7 minutes. First of all, and maybe we did it twice.
I
or
think
3
we did
times.
do it twice, yeah.
But the whole joke was that it was the end, maybe even the end credits or the epilogue or whatever.
Because you hear about them getting married throughout the movie.
Right, exactly. But you never see that scene.
Yeah.
But Lake and my character, we typically in these kind of movies, we would hook up and whatever. But it never happened. We just fought the whole time.
Yeah.
But
So much anger.
Yeah,
So
but
much
this
anger.
time it was like, but then it was revealed at the end that we had hooked up at the very beginning,
And
and that's
that's
why we
why
hated
there
each
was
other,
so much
which I
anger.
thought was a really cool,
So
little
cool.
device. But
Dana Fox.
so yeah, that's right. That's
Wrote
right,
that movie.
Dana
Okay.
Fox. And it was one of those things like we were actors who were asked to do this crazy thing, just make out and you get asked to do that a lot. I don't. I'm not that guy. And so we reached that point probably like 3.5 minutes in, if it was 7 minutes, where you're like, what do we do next?
How do you
besides
keep this
full
up?
on Penny? Full Penny.
Full Penny. Yeah, because it was just so like,
Yeah.
where do you go from here?
So Lake spit into my open mouth.
I-
Surprised me with it. I was like,
I think, did I ask you to like open your mouth?
maybe, but I feel like our mouths were open a lot at that moment.
I'm like, I'm going
thank
on
God
a
you're-
limb here.
Thank God your kids aren't old enough to understand what we're talking
I
about.
know, and
And
they
at
will.
one point, a half of her foot was in my
yeah.
mouth. Yeah.
That's right. There was I put my foot in your mouth.
Yeah, that was like we were at that desperate,
grasping.
like,
I
gotta
was grasping.
find things to do. But that's when I think you find your best stuff.
And you know what?
You're not thinking, you're
Correct.
just putting things in mouths.
Absolutely. And that's where I think our friendship really blossomed.
It was either going to be like we'd never see each other again,
Yeah,
or we'd be great friends.
exactly. Or you'd be the officiant at my wedding. You know, it's like
Exactly.
you're like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna marry you to this guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was where it all began.
Mm-hmm.
And then shortly thereafter, you called me and said,
Mm-hmm.
"Can you? I've got this idea for a children's hospital TV show."
Yep.
And I'm like, it was just like, I'm listening.
Mm-hmm.
When are we doing it?
Right.
And then that was like a web series at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I love you. I think you're great.
Well, that's the point. My last job was What Happens in Vegas. The writer's strike had hit.
Oh yeah.
And I had done a show that had gotten canceled. So I had zero money and just this one idea. And I thought my concept was overriding the concept of the show, which was thin to say the least.
You're like children's hospital.
It's a children's hospital.
And
Action.
Let's go.
I was like, I just want to cast the funniest people I know, friends of mine that I know already, funniest people I know, who I love and want to spend
You just
time
wanna
with.
hang out with.
And you were the first one cast, the first one I thought of because you were the closest. Like I was like just had gotten off of a job with you, and I was like, well, Lake, obviously.
That was so
Who else?
fun. I know. You're like, and Rolodex.
Yeah.
Because you had a Rolodex at that time in your life.
Yeah, flipping through my Rolodex.
Yeah,
I
and
actually did have, I think, a Palm Trio.
Did you really?
I think it was that day and age, the Palm Trio, which, by the way, they blew it.
Yeah,
Great
they could have
phone.
really
Solid
kept
phone.
going. I had a Palm as well. I think we all
awesome.
had a Palm. I mean, I had a Filofax at one point in my life. I mean, I don't like brag about it, but like
I miss those days, to tell you the
kinda
truth.
do too.
I've gone from meticulously like
You love-
organizing a digital to-do task action
Yeah.
item. Like it's
You're
one of
very
my hobbies.
You're
I've
good
gone
at it.
From that, well, I need it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm good at it. I'm good at making lists.
Yeah.
I've gone from that to freehand. I have a freehand to-do list.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, like, and do
Because
you keep it in a little?
Yep. I have a
Like,
I
are
have
you carrying
a
a note-
binder?
Oh, do you don't carry like a notepad?
I usually do. Yeah, I don't have it with me right now because
Oh,
I don't.
that's
I
so,
don't
like-
have anything in my pockets. I don't like anything in my pockets.
Yeah, 'cause
except
then
for
you sit
nicotine
down.
lozenges and Aquaphor.
I was gonna say Aquaphor.
Yeah.
The Aquaphor is your jam.
That's it. I'm not.
I mean,
going
you could
anywhere.
do like an endorsement for
Yeah,
Aquaphor.
look at my lips are starting to get dry, but they're
know.
not. They're starting to feel dry because we're talking about it.
Yeah. Do you want to lube up?
Yeah.
Do you want to pull
I'm
out
gonna
the
be
floor?
strong.
Okay. All right. Anytime that you need to
They will.
pull
They'll
out the
believe me. I'm
Aquaphor, because now I'm starting to think about it, and I'm like, what did I do today for my lips? And my
Well, your
tongue?
foot was in my mouth. If you want to borrow my Aquaphor,
Thank
you know I'm cool.
That was years
you know
ago,
I'm clean.
Corddry.
Years ago, Corddry. Who knows what kind of herpes you've gotten since then?
So okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Where was I?
You were the
children's-
first one.
Yeah,
You and
children's.
Aaron,
And Aaron,
pretty much simultaneously.
you assembled. I just want to say, you assembled the most delightful group of people that
Right.
are now so deeply entrenched in my life. I'm
Right.
so thankful to you for
because
that.
that's what I would. That's the only. I was like, I want to just hang out with my friends.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
and I
really
get all
smart.
my friends together who I guess didn't necessarily know each other. Like, I wasn't even a question.
I
in my
know
head.
it's really interesting, but like those people are
Mm-hmm.
so important to me now, and I am so sad that we don't have Children's Hospital anymore. But I am so glad that we did it for 7 years, and now I know them this well. You know, it's like
Right.
if there's ever, I don't know, if there's ever like a birth of a child or big events, like those are the people.
Totally.
On my, yeah. So anyway,
Totally. Like,
So well done on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're kind of like
We should get them over here.
Should I? Maybe, okay, at the end, like
All
when
right.
we don't have anything else,
should
we'll
get
just
them
like
over
call
here.
some people. Speaking of other movies, you
Go
and I
ahead.
made a movie. You threw me in Children's Hospital, which I was very thankful. And then I threw you in In a World.
Yeah.
which
Oh
I
my
am
God.
just so grateful that you did.
It was one of the best professional experiences of my life.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's very sweet.
I mean, no, you know that. You know I feel that way about that movie because one, it takes a friend to cast you in a role that you're never going to get cast in. It was just the victim and a really like,
Kind spirit.
yeah, kind man.
You were playing
gentle.
a lot of like dicks.
I don't play gentle people.
And you were so good. I think because I know you as such a kind-hearted, cool, great father and husband and upright citizen. And so I guess I just was like, I just see
that
that
takes
way.
a friend to
Yeah,
like
to
do that
know.
because that is definitely closer to anybody I play. But all the other guys I play are like the Boston side of me, the side that I had to like sort of shed in college.
Right.
You know,
But I wanted to cast the Aquaphor side of you.
that was it. That's it.
And that's really because I know
yeah,
you. Yeah.
kind of the chubby side.
Yeah.
The chubbier side of me.
No, but
But that movie, people like stop me on the street a lot for that movie.
Really?
Yeah, that movie is a real big go-to.
Oh, that's good. Okay,
Yeah.
good. I like that.
Yeah, it's good.
I get either In a World stuff or I get You Know Why. From
Yeah.
so basically the two
Yeah.
movies that we did together.
Right. What's the favorite movie? Your favorite movie you've ever done, honestly, and not your own.
Wait, but not my own? That's
Yeah. No, I know it's a stupid question, but why
It's not stupid, but it's really hard to answer considering In a World was just the most insanely fulfilling. And same with I Do Until I Don't. It's like to make movies like that is just profound.
That's why you got to take it out of the equation. 'Cause it's
I
like-
know. Interesting. I think that I would say my favorite movie that I ever made, or I would say just project. I would go to Children's Hospital because
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Sure.
because I would take movie out of it. Just say project because can I do that to your own question?
Yeah.
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 I think because that one, was just I got to direct on Children's Hospital, as well as be playful and not judged in any way. There was just no everything was ever changing and evolving and one episode we'd be in a full-on spy movie and then the next episode it would be whatever just
Yeah. I kind of envied you guys a lot.
because you were always in your clown
Because I wasn't. I got to hang out in the makeup room. That's when I ended on set when I was acting, but I didn't like to put myself in the show because it was the last thing I'd think about.
Yeah.
But I was just so busy and stressed out up until season 6.
Yeah,
When we
and
had finally figured out how to do the show.
Yeah.
That I was like, oh God, those guys look like they're having so much fun.
I
I
hear
was
what
having
you're
fun, but you know what
saying.
I was just learning how to do all this stuff as I was doing it. It was really like,
because early on you were directed initially and then you were like
yeah.
negative
Not for me.
ghostwriter. Yeah,
Not for
you were
me.
like not for me. because then you're not able to kind of
No.
Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah. No, I also don't like directing.
Right.
Yeah.
You've said that to me before.
Yeah. And you've taken great offense to it.
No,
As you
actually,
are now. You are
no. With jokes aside,
directing's just a job. I don't know why you take it so personal.
No, I really think it's a profound thing to admit that you don't like to direct, because I think a lot of people get like, they think it's the be all end all or something.
Yeah.
They-
And it's
and
a
they think
power
you
thing
have
with a
to
lot
do
of
it.
actors too, I think.
Yeah, it's like some sort of ego.
You meet
thing.
very few actors who, oh, you're obviously meant to be a director as well. Like you and Ken, I would say, and like, I know Fred Savage. he's
he's
a really
great.
good director.
Totally.
And there's
No,
other people, but
for
maybe
sure.
just you three.
Maybe it's just us. No. There's definitely is. I mean, there's. But I hear what you're saying. It's interesting.
I was not.
People were saying, oh, why are there not so many female directors? And I was talking to someone and they were like, well, maybe, if a guy is like a writer, right? And eventually, or a performer even, eventually someone's going to say, well, you're going to direct, aren't you? There's like an obvious thing of like, you're going to try to
course.
direct that. And most guys might be like, well, yeah, I'm going to direct it, right? There's like this sense of like, they would never say, oh, I'm not. I think it's very bold to say, I'm actually not interested in directing, or it doesn't suit me, right?
Right.
While I think a lot of women, this is your connection with your feminine side. I think a lot of women be like, oh, I have writer friends who are like, yeah, I'm not a director. I just really enjoy writing, and that's okay with me.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's like,
I like producing better because it's more of a macro, like 30,000
your lists.
view.
You get to make those lists.
So many lists. It's great. But with a director, you're like really focusing on the granular of it, and that's too stressful for me.
It's also like it's like lists plus visuals and feeling, and it's just like so much to track at the same time.
Feeling, it's funny that you say that because not a lot of directors are like that, TV directors.
Right.
You came in with like a lookbook with like thoughts, colors you were thinking of, and we were like, I found ourselves like leaning in to the table like, what? Wow. And your episodes came out like that too, right? Like they were actually, you put thought into how the episode
Visual.
would look, which Marco, our DP, was like practically orgasmic over. He was like, what not? Where has she been?
I know, I really enjoy collaborating with him. And I
great.
I think part of what I love about directing is collaboration. It's definitely feeling like, okay, I love, turning to my team and, assembling that team and then feeling the confidence to be like, I got your back, okay? I'm going to delegate certain items here, but I have the answers to the majority of these questions. And I feel okay with that, So ask me anything at any time. And I'll take care of you if you take care of me.
David Wayne told me, because I asked him for advice before I started directing, and I was like, what if I don't have the answer? And he was like, well, what I usually do is I just give an answer, and then I give an answer right away because you want people to be confident in you. But then you go in, if your answer changes, just go back and say, you know what, on second thought?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not bad advice. So I was doing that, and then I realized after a while it's okay to say, you know what, I don't know. Let's go ask somebody else. Both, I think, are perfectly...
I think so, too. I'm trying to think of when I really don't know the answer.
You probably know the answer.
No, so, I mean, there are times when someone comes up to you and, they're like, what do you think? I don't know, whether it's like, what do you think, like an 85 here, or should we stick to the 50, And I'm like...
That's another thing the director should know.
Yeah.
It's 80 or I don't even know.
Well, those are vastly different
Nonsense
lenses,
to me.
but I'm just saying the idea, something of that ilk.
Prime? Are they prime?
Primes?
Are they prime?
Are those primes?
Can we get a couple prime? Should we do it on prime?
Well, you only have primes.
Less looks.
There you go. You got your director. Guys, working quietly.
Yeah.
Working quietly.
Vanity's clear.
Here we go. Sounds bitter. Here we go.
Lalo.
And action.
Go.
No, I think that when I don't know the answer, I say, now in this point in my sort of still young directing career, I would say, let me think on that. So give me 2 more minutes. Let me just think on that. Okay. you know, what we should do is, you know, because then I show my cards that I'm going to take a moment to ruminate on it, but I know I only have about 10 seconds.
Of course. Yeah, that's the thing.
But sometimes that's all you need.
That's the thing.
Sometimes that's all you need.
Well, that's what what I was saying without let me think about that for a second. I would just go and look down at the floor and think. And I learned that from Ed Helms, sharing an office with him at The Daily Show. He was the first guy I ever met who just didn't answer a question right away. He thought about it.
Oh, that's so
And I was like, who is this alien from another planet?
I can totally see Ed doing that.
Yeah, he's a very thoughtful dude. And he wants to have a thoughtful answer for you.
That's very,
you know what I mean?
very good. Yeah. And I mean, working with him on this movie, actually, it's really interesting. You say that with I Do Until I Don't. Which comes out September 1.
September 1st.
In theaters. You know, what I think is interesting about him is that, he's measured, you know? So so at first I was like, and I know Ed, you know, socially, but in a work environment, if I was like, why don't we think about doing X, Y, or Z, you know, or whatever it is, he would take a beat, think about it, and then respond. Yeah. And sometimes I'm like, does that mean he doesn't like
you know, exactly.
I'm like, he didn't like that. He didn't like that. And then he comes back and you're like, oh, no, he liked that. He's just being tremendously
And sometimes he doesn't.
Thoughtful.
But his whatever issue with whatever you said is prompts a collaborative discussion.
Yes.
So, this is all under the umbrella of collaboration, which you were talking about, which is another thing. Like what I loved about Children's Hospital was that there was no budget, and in a world too. And I was saying this, I actually realized this in a world was because I was like, oh, see, this is two things that have no budget, and people are solving problems together rather than throwing money at it.
Yes,
because Ballers, there's like $1 million sneaker budget.
Oh my God,
so they're just like, you know, like just throwing money at anything that happens, which works too, you know. But like,
it does work in a certain setting. I mean, I think, and you know, my producers might not like this, but it's sort of like, I think limitations breed creativity, you know, always.
Absolutely.
So you don't want so many limitations that you can't get anything
You're not
done.
Planting limitations on purpose.
Exactly. But they're inherent
Yeah.
to the filmmaking process. So it definitely with indie movies, that is part of what I like about it.
Yeah, me too.
In there is a problem solving mechanism that you have to constantly exercise.
It's so weird, right? Like, what are we doing?
I'm not
in
sure.
a way?
I know.
What are we doing?
It's so much energy.
It's so much energy, creative energy, and for those things, we're not getting paid.
Nothing.
For the most part.
In a world, I got 0.00.
Of course. And if I'm doing a movie right now, it's adjusted low budget SAG scale. Like whatever that means. I don't even know how much I'm getting because I don't want to know.
Yeah, don't.
If this was in another town, it would cost me money.
Right.
To do it. And yet I do it happily, and like, what's the matter with me?
Well, I think
go.
I don't know the answer to that, but I know why I do it, and I think it's just sustenance. It's a privilege. You don't get to do it without. You have to do other jobs too that allow you to have the great privilege to go be creative, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the truth of it. But I think and especially with kids now, you know, having two kids as you have.
You have two kids?
Yeah.
Cool. We should get our kids together.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be fun.
My kids love your kid.
Oh my God. My kids love kids. One of my
By the way,
kids.
Lake's kid is ridiculous.
Your kids are ridiculous. Anyway, the point is kids adding to this mixture is insane.
Yeah, right.
And a real shift of priorities. So to take on those projects that are like adjusted slightly to the center of low budget scale makes it harder you know, it's like that is you got to think real hard. How many weeks can I bring a kid? Should I bring the whole family?
It becomes a decision making an element of your decision making, of course. It has to. And, you know, Sandy and I, before we got married and had kids, or while we were married and didn't have kids, we were talking about how, like, you know, what's our policy? You know, what do we think about this? What our future and what we want? And Sandy is had a very good, career. It has. I mean, she still does it off and on, but she wanted to be a mother,
Right.
And so I had the freedom then to say, and she's like, and you go be what you want to be.
Wow.
But then after a while, it was me saying, this is, and I would say like, I don't want to take this because it's too far for too long. And
Yeah.
she's like, don't be an idiot. Like, this is what you do. She's so supportive. And I'm like, no, but really, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, it's on your because you don't want to.
I
do it.
have to make you guys a element in my decision-making process consciously. And I'm doing it.
You're saying I don't want to go for that long.
Yeah, it's Shreveport. I mean,
Yeah, and it's also Shreveport. Apologies if you're listening to this and you live in Shreveport.
No. If you're listening to this in Shreveport, get in your car, pack it up, and go, man.
That's why That's why they're listening to this because they're on their way elsewhere.
Long drive
to
Crossing
somewhere
those
elseville.
State lines.
So Shreveport aside, I do think that the logistics aspect of parenting is the thing that when I had one kid, I was like, yeah, there's a lot of logistics, whatever, and you figure it out. Now that there's two, especially an infant, which I have in the other room.
Sure do. Saw it.
Yep.
I saw it.
Little chubby.
Saw it.
It's so cute. Anyway, the point is when you have two, now it's like all I talk to Scott about is logistics.
Yeah, right.
It's
Yeah,
only
us too.
we literally I scheduled
Oh, go ahead. Yep.
I scheduled a time to talk
Logistics.
about schedule.
You
that is
set
real.
logistics in place to talk about logistics.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
no,
that
I've
is
done that.
Yeah. So I'm like, and then people are like, can you do it all? And I'm like, not really.
Yeah.
You just get to do a couple of the things.
No.
What
is all?
Yeah,
Like, what are you talking about?
because what about like health?
I'm able to do what I'm doing.
Can do.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Right to the
brink and
Yeah.
not that great, or if you
Yeah,
want to
right?
do something really well one day, then you have to cancel the rest of the stuff.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Meaning like if you want to be a great mom, then you can't.
You're not going to take a
Do
phone
other-
call
no.
with this group of producers. No. And you also like, if I'm on set and I'm really into this thing I'm doing, then I'm done with everything else.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I'm the same way. A lot of people are like, I got to take this call, and they're like doing deals 2 minutes before a take. I can't do it,
I
man.
try to, but
I don't even try anymore.
I don't think it's gonna be a thing I can do now that I have two kids. Like,
Yeah.
And also, I don't think it's time management, man. But yeah, I mean, now even just with like now I got a pump schedule.
Pump, you mean workout? You pump
iron? No, I pump. Well, there's a lot of iron in breast milk actually, but
You do pump iron.
it is no, but I do pump iron, but a different varietal. So yes,
Pumping is a whole thing.
Oh, come on. There's a pump schedule.
It's a whole deal.
There's now a
Girl,
writing
I know about pumping.
You know about a girl.
I know about
Stop
pump.
it. You know all
Do
about
you have the manual, or did you get the machine?
Oh no, I've got a machine.
It's-
I'm
those
like,
are
I don't
so
have time
crazy.
for this bullshit manual. So.
Sounds like
Sloan,
and it's a freaky
Lindsay
thing.
Sloan is doing the manual. God bless her. But I'm like,
Probably because she's afraid of the thing it's strapped to her boobs,
It's
like
pretty-
going. It's so terrible.
at one point I thought it was saying something to me. The first, it was like,
shit.
It was like, Hugh, and I was like, who is Hugh? Are they trying to lace in some sort of Hugh?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the new mom.
Yeah.
Like chemicals everywhere in your
so weird.
Oh my, and hearing voices in your
I heard
breast.
voices
That's awesome.
in my breast machine.
That is so awesome.
But yeah, so there's that, and then there's like, I'm just like venting now. I can't even believe that there's the pump schedule. There's the infant schedule. You got to get him on a
man.
feed. He
You're
doesn't
in the
sleep
shit
at
right
night.
now. You're in the shit.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to teach the small human how to sleep. After, by the way, just giving birth and not sleeping, it's just.
Yeah.
And then also, I have it's like you got your writing sessions, you've got your producing, you're checking. Oh, sorry, I just bumped the mic.
Shit, man.
Bumped the mic.
I know.
Yeah, and then have a friend, have a husband, have friends.
No.
Health.
I got rid of them.
Yeah.
Health.
Health.
Yeah,
what about
that's,
health?
That's another thing I don't really
Yeah.
care so much about.
But isn't that I mean, like, it's a lot.
Yeah,
Talk
man,
about
it's a lot.
overserved.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like there was a one of the wardrobe, I don't know, people on this movie is like 7.5 months pregnant. And I probably told you this too, because I love telling people this, like when they're pregnant, I'm like, hey, I bet you a lot of people are coming up to you saying that it's terrible. Like, I mean, no, that your life's going to change. Same thing about marriage, right? That your life's going to change. Not terrible. That your life's going to change. And they give you all these things like, you're going to cry. This is the greatest love. You've never known it, but you will. And there's like parents walking around with these badges on, like showing off their medals. And I like telling people, like, it's not all that.
I know,
it's
you're
just,
very good like
it's
that.
like, it's not as hard as they say it is. It's tough, but it's not as hard. And like, just block them out.
Yeah.
Do your own thing.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not like I've forgotten how to laugh. You know, it's like
Lake.
it's.
There it is.
Oh, I did it. I almost forgot. But no, literally, it's like it's not so bad that I'm not able to.
It's logistics.
Smile. Yeah, it's just logistics.
It's logistics.
It's more like a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you just think, oh, there's so many fun things I want to do, and I can't do all of them. Like, I'd love to hang out with my daughter and do. I mean, look, my daughter's 2.5 too, so she's like, I'm gonna show you my rage. You know, like at all times. You know, there's just a lot of negotiation. So it's logistics and negotiation with a small person who's smarter than me at this point.
You know what I'm thinking right now? Like last night, Sandy went to the bathroom, got back, and she did this bit. And I forget what it was. It was really funny though. And I yes-anded her, as is my teaching.
Okay, yes, and,
You know,
okay.
we were just doing a bit,
and,
like laughing together and like having fun. It was great. And we do a lot, but like now I'm realizing like, and then I was like, all right, so I'm going to read to you, right? Because I read to her at night, and she was like, I thought we were laughing. Like laughing had been, this is laughing time in the calendar. No, not really.
No, but
I was like,
kind
oh
of.
shit. Well, I thought the laughing, I really did feel like the scene had ended. And I'm not, you know, and that became the bit about the bit we were doing. But now I'm thinking like, yeah, man, like those times I want to be more conscious of, like, oh, we're not talking about logistics now. We're not in our calendars and talking about,
You're like, oh,
can you help me out getting so-and-so to swim practice? And I say so-and-so, I don't remember her
Your
name. The
child's
oldest.
name. The older
oldest.
one?
Yeah.
I think, is it Slarn?
Slarn?
Yeah, your oldest child? Slarn.
Slarb.
It was a Danish name.
Mr. Slarb. Mr. Slarb.
So that's the thing is like you married Sandy. Like you're so into her. Isn't that great?
Yeah,
like,
it's great.
You're
Fantastic.
like crazy about her.
Yeah.
And you get to have moments now because your kids are older that you
I
get to look
know.
at each other and go, oh my
know.
God, this is awesome. We're like
know.
doing this stuff
How
together.
conscious are you now of the other side of the corners that you'll be taking? Like the corners where you're like, oh wait, something just got easier.
Yeah, we are conscious of it. It, of course, you always notice it like after the fact, but
Totally.
even just being, you know, where we are now with Ozzy being like strong and, you know, rolling over and, you know, that's my son.
I don't. No, I don't. I only register children when they're about like 10, 11 months.
But like it gets.
I don't care about.
Yeah,
we'll
just
we'll
like
be
blob.
great friends.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. No, he's just a blob. But you know, now that he's like not so delicate,
Yeah.
you know, there's when infants are first out, they're like, you're just constantly so nervous. But he's like a substantial guy, man, child,
Yeah.
baby. But the point is, there are little moments where Scott and I are like, look at us, you know.
That's cool.
Like I laughed at something you said.
Yeah.
You laughed at something I said.
Hey,
you know,
it's Scott
you're
and Lake.
great. Yeah, look at us.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because we used to be LB plus SC. That was like the existence of all of our
Yeah.
courtship. And then, you know, you go,
Yeah.
it's not really LB plus SC anymore. And it's like Lake, Scott, Nova, Ozzy, Texas the dog. Also, what time is dinner? Are you eating dinner?
at
Did
the
you brush
door
your
right
teeth?
now?
Who's at the door? It's the blinds guy.
It's the blinds guy.
You know what I'm
deal with
saying?
that.
You gotta the guy blinds guy is gonna come in and put blackout shades in the baby's room because they can't sleep with the
That's
blackout.
great. That's great.
Anyway, so there's a movie that I made. I want to talk about. It's called I Do Until I Don't.
Yeah.
Okay. So
which I watched about 11 minutes. You know?
Great.
Yeah.
So the first 11 minutes, you understand what I'm talking about. Well, but
it's great.
the movie came, the inception of the idea, came from my interest in the subject of marriage. And, I come from a family of divorce, and I kind of felt like it, in general, kind of cynical about the institution, that it is archaic, and that at this point in our existence as humans, we live to 90 years old. Why are we?
It is really silly when you think about the actual science of it.
Yeah, like when marriage was first, built as a concept, and it was a contract, and that it was, everyone was dying at 40, 45 or years old, and so
Easy.
Oh yeah, you want me to till death do us part? Fine,
right.
But then, I guess as I grew up, I was kind of like, yeah, that really does feel old fashioned and like a tall order to ask someone to stay together that long. That said, I think every unromantic is deeply hoping to be proved wrong,
Yes,
And
like
so-
reluctant skeptics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I would kind of tout that philosophy, and then, secretly hope that maybe somebody would
Totally.
just like sweep me off my feet like, the movies, and throw me over their shoulder and say, we're getting hitched. And that is literally what Scott Campbell did.
Yeah.
And through the course of writing the movie, I met Scott, and so it really did evolve.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
because I started
cool.
writing this, God, like right after In a World.
Jeez.
So, I had started with a really cynical path.
Yeah.
And did want it to be hopeful at the end, but was
didn't know.
vastly
Wow.
changed.
I'm so glad my copy crapped out before I got to watch now I'd rather watch it with that context.
Oh yeah, it's the movie, whilst it's called, I Do Until I Don't, it is, that is cheeky because in effect, if you go in feeling like, yeah, by the way, it is kind of like cynical, this whole marriage thing, by the end, it is a deeply hopeful and super romantic pro-marriage message.
Cool.
So that with this movie and I Do Until I Don't, I really wanted to take on all of the negativity and cynicism that I had been investigating with, that I was sort of therapeutically needing to massage out and figure out. I used that and then wrote something that makes me feel good and makes me feel hopeful about a very difficult thing, which is to commit yourself to with one person for the rest of your life. And why do we still do it? We still do it. And is there, there must be something to it. Otherwise it would be, would have long fizzled out, and that there is something deeply brave and very cool about jumping full force into commitment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so this movie, right? You chose to dig into your life experience and the attitudes that you had and everything, and then oh God, I forgot what I was going to say. Come to a Corddry.
No, you're not.
No, I had something really, really fun to say. Go ahead.
I can't wait.
Keep talking.
No, I was going to say, I hope people, and I can't wait for you and Sandy to see it because
We'll
I do
see
think
it tonight.
it's super
I'm just going to
romantic.
watch it on my computer. I hate that.
Or come to
it gets hot on my lap.
Oh, no, don't do that. I can't have you screening that way.
No, I put a pillow. I'll put a pillow.
I'm going to come over and just make sure the environment is right.
I'll just let it load. I'll let it.
Wait a second. What are we talking about?
I'll let it load up. Get a load going. I'll get a load going, and then we'll just like
Load it
Then
up?
we'll sit down and swallow
What about
that
the
load.
Can you? Wow.
What?
Can you? It's just you're in your bed. There's loads. I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about anymore. You and your wife.
Could we hook it up
To
via
a television.
HD? Yes.
Okay, thank you.
It would just not
It
at
would
that time
mean
of
a
night.
lot.
We were like not gonna.
Yeah,
do
yeah.
it.
But anyway, I'll come over and do it. So anyway, I think in all, I really hope to. I hope people just can have a respite of all the fucking bullshit that is every day I turn on Twitter and I'm just like, what is happening to our existence?
No, I know. I can't even.
This is
really absorb it anymore. I've kind of pushed myself. I've given myself a little vacation.
distance.
I have to because I don't. Stop. I'm not listening anymore. I find myself trying to go like think about all the bullshit, and I'm like, I can't. It's not penetrating anymore. I'm not coming to any conclusions.
Right. No, I understand.
And I just want it to be over.
That's why
I'm going to kill myself here on this podcast.
this feels like not the right thing to do. It's my house. Literally
you're
my
right.
house.
That's disrespectful.
I just go outside.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
Just because this is new carpet. And
I get it. No, it's beautiful.
Then again, I don't know what you were choosing to do. I don't know what.
No, it's going to be messy. It's going to be messy.
That's what I
as hell,
figured. Just knowing you.
Oh, every
Knowing you.
fluid in my body racing out as fast as it
Stop!
could.
It's terrible. I want you to stay here forever.
You have children in this house.
No, I love you. You know, we have an extra room. You guys can move in here, by the way. And listen to me.
Looking around.
Kindness. You're like, do I like this decor?
I like this. I can do this. It's beautiful. The
this could be
stars
like-
on the thing have to
There
go.
are stars on our ceiling here.
Yeah, they got to go.
So, in summation.
Wait, can I say something about
Yes.
the movie too? Just about the way it's super. What I saw of it, it's super hilarious too.
Yes.
I doubt it's all about this. What it reminded me of, and you tell me, is like Woody Allen at his best, right? No, I mean it. You reminded
love
me
you.
of Diane Keaton. I even thought you might be doing that on purpose, like doing a Diane Keaton, like sort of, because I do that. I think of like,
I'm doing my mother is what I'm doing.
of
I've
course
got.
you are.
I'm
Oh my
doing
gosh,
Robin Bell, and she was like, God bless my mom because
the
she
best.
was like,
Love that
she's
woman
like,
to death.
I saw the trailer of your film.
Oh, you are doing your mother.
And I was all of a
mother's
sudden
nothing like that,
nervous.
Keaton.
I was a little concerned. I saw that you're wearing a lot of beige and white.
Yes, that's so- Oh, your hair. You
And
even.
you're blonde. And my mom literally is
Wow.
donned in beige and white at all times. And
If I wasn't married, I would court and marry Robin. Bell. Put it that way.
I have heard that said
Yeah.
before. She is beautiful and
wonderful.
soft-spoken and kind,
Yeah.
thoughtful, but she does have a lot of quirks that people don't know about, and so I used them for this character.
So great.
And
Can't wait to get into your mom's head.
but it is a huge compliment, even to obviously reference Mr.
What's
Allen.
funny in that way, like it tumbles, as they say, like
Yeah.
a Woody Allen movie too, and the comedy's that kind of relationship, smart. Like we all think this, but no one said it.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
good. And I'm so
1.
September 1.
A mere month and a week.
Is it?
I don't know.
Oh, God.
I really don't know.
Listen, I want to say something. Thank you, Rob Corddry, for
Thank you.
venturing out here to my new home.
I'm sorry I was 5 minutes late.
No, it's fine. It's a delight. I got
Late
the-
came down though, late. Like I came in, late came and made an entrance, like a Hollywood entrance.
Yeah.
Like she's wearing this flowing sort of like casual summer dress. And she like both hands on the door,
Always
either door
splayed.
jam, but not quite reaching one
Sure, not
with the other
touching them.
hand. But she's like, oh, this house is too new. I didn't know that wasn't gonna reach. But she still kept it.
No, I want to always look slightly suspended.
And I
in
didn't
the
know
air.
why that fan over there was on before, but it was for
Now
that
you-
hair blow.
yeah, the
it was
hair, I
perfect.
carry it.
Perfect.
Thank you. But thank you for being here. And
Thank you.
I do love
Great.
you.
I love you too.
All right, brother.
Very much. Goodbye.
Bye.
They love each other. It's a beautiful thing. I kind of love you too, but let's not get too hung up on that. That was a great conversation.
And we didn't have to witness Rob's suicide live on air.
That would have been very, very, very sad.
The carpet's in great shape. Listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, we've got a couple others to recommend for you.
If you're a fan of Children's Hospital, scroll back and hit up our Paul Scheer, Ken Marino podcast from a couple months ago. And of course, everybody should be listening to Seth Meyers in conversation with Senator Al Franken from last week, which is just gold.
Hilarious, powerful, fantastic, just like you listeners. Take a moment, head over to iTunes and Stitcher, rate and review the podcast. Every time you do, it helps someone else find us. And as Nick likes to say,
An angel gets their wings. And of course, please come visit us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Hit up our YouTube page, which is busy at the moment, which is fantastic.
Thanks to Gideon Brower for recording this conversation.
Thanks to Mark Yoshizumi for editing and mixing it.
Thank you, Nick.
See you next time.
Till then,